Is an increase in brightness in this cell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the view real quick, because what we're getting is a brighter reflectivity in that same area that we're tracking these storms. So this is going to be in that Plainville area. That's also at Daresville Road. We can actually query some of these wind speeds, roughly 30 miles per hour in one direction, 30 in another. So that rotation, you combine that together, we call that gate to gate. We're talking about roughly 60 miles per hour of winds that are rotating. So definitely reason for us to be concerned. You can see lots of lightning embedded in that cell. What I'm going to do is I'm going to time that out one more time for folks so that you can get an idea on when this is going to move into your neighborhood. And what we'll do is we'll do it from the center of that rotation and track it on out. This is going to arrive in Fairmont at around 3:13. So we're talking about within the next 10 plus minutes. Jasper, you got about 20 minutes to get to your safe space. This is still a ways away from Morganton and Dahlonega, but these thunderstorms have continued to be very intense over the course of the last few hours. They've been producing lots of rain, lots of lightning, strong damaging winds along the front and strong winds out ahead of the front. We've been tracking this for the last few hours, and something that we've been noticing is that we've been getting reports before the main line moves through these communities. So you don't have to wait until the actual tornado warned cell or the severe thunderstorm warned cell moves through your area to experience those gusty winds. These are the same locations that for the last few days have been picking up rounds of rain. So with soggy grounds and winds that have been gusting 30, 40, 50 miles per hour out ahead of the main line of storms, that's been enough to knock down trees. So if you can imagine, these storms for the most part have been moving roughly 50 to sometimes 75 plus miles per hour, just their actual speed. That's talking about how fast you drive on the interstate. Those storms have been moving that fast. It takes not much of this type of energy to knock down trees. So we're going to be concerned about power outages in the northern part of our region. And we're also going to be concerned about some of these winds just doing some damage, Jen.
Yeah. And something else we're watching, too, is the incredible amount of winds with this. So as you said, even beyond the tornado and possible tornado on the ground, we have seen 60, 70, even 80 plus mile an hour winds, 80 mile an hour winds. That's as strong as an EF0 tornado. 60 to 80 mile an hour winds are an EF0. So even if there's not a tornado physically on the ground, we're talking about winds reminiscent of an EF0 tornado blaring through these counties. Several reports of power outages. We have several reports of trees down on cars, on homes. So the damage is going to be extensive from this system. So please, if you are in the warned area, I cannot stress it enough. You need to go to your safe spot, not only because of a possible tornado on the ground, but possible trees coming down as well. And as we know, trees could be just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, depending on where you are. And Fred, you want to say something?
I do want to interject here real quickly, just to let you know that the National Weather Service, when they issued this tornado warning, they made special mention of the fact that there are strong winds out ahead of the actual possible tornado. It's a radar indicated tornado, and we are just now seeing reports, several reports of downed trees in Paulding County. And the reason I point that out here is that when you look at the radar behind me, you'll notice that there's nothing right now over Paulding County, but there are reports of trees down because the wind is already cranking in that area. So it's not just spots where we have the radar intensity and the potential tornado on the ground, but we are finding very strong winds out ahead of this line that is producing these storms capable of tornadoes.
Yeah, and if you're in the metro area right now, if you're in Fulton, if you're in Cobb, if you're in Gwinnett, if you're in DeKalb, in the metro area, the storms are still very far away. They're in northwest Georgia, but those winds are already starting to pick up in Howell. You may be noticing your trash cans moving, your yard furniture is moving around. Those winds are only going to intensify. And again, this line has a history of producing 80 mile an hour winds. That is incredibly powerful, certainly destructive winds. When you're talking about 80 mile an hour winds, easily you see trees come down, easily you see power lines come down, and you do see, unfortunately, extensive damage. So this is a very complex system here with a lot of dangerous factors involved with it, not only the possible rotation, but also those straight line winds possible of 80+ miles an hour. Latest on this tornado, again, still seeing rotation, radar indicated rotation with this very close to the Adairsville area, now north of Adairsville, heading south of Calhoun towards Fairmount, and again, moving very fast to the northeast at 65 miles an hour. Get to your safe spot immediately. If you are in Bartow County, if you are in Gordon County, get to your safe spot immediately. Possible radar indicated tornado on the ground near Adairsville, moving quickly out of the Adairsville area, near Blackwood, near Fairmount Highway, near Farmville, near Tucker Hollow Road Southeast. This is I-75, so crossing over Interstate 75 right now, very quickly to the northeast here at 65 miles an hour. And it's part of a big line of storms. Fred, if we can zoom out a little, you can see just this line. It's a cold front approaching northwest Georgia here. And along this line, not only are we seeing rotation, again, with that tornado warning just south of the Calhoun area, but we're also seeing these intense winds along and ahead of this line. And these winds certainly powerful enough to knock down trees and power lines and cause damage. You do not want to be outside in this system. We are talking about dangerous winds right now.
Yeah, I would
Fred.
say I just shaded that area in white and put those hash marks in there. That's the area right now that's starting to see some really strong winds out ahead of this line of storms. So even out in here, we've got reports of tree damage in Paulding County, lots of reports farther to the northwest in Chattooga County, and this is where our tornado warning is. But expect the wind to really start increasing in Cherokee County, and as you go farther to the north up through Pickens County as well. This is all moving to the east at a very fast clip right now. The individual cells are absolutely screaming along at about 60, 65 miles an hour. Now, our tornado warning at this point is just for Gordon County, and it is for another 9 minutes, Jen. So we have, that's how fast this is moving, that this tornado warning, this tornado warned cell will be out of Gordon County within the next 9 minutes, and we'll see if it is extended farther to the east. We'll take a look at the rotation here just to get an idea.
So as you do that, I just want to, so Floyd and Bartow, you can get out of your safe spot. So I think it's just as important to let you know when you can get out of your safe spot, as important that is to tell you to when to go to your safe spot. So Floyd, you are clear, but still for Gordon County, you are under this tornado warning until 6:15, Patrick.
And Jen, you can show this. If we can go a little bit further south, Cave Springs, Cedartown, there's a little bit of rotation developing in that area as well. So we will keep an eye on that. I'm watching it. The last couple of radar swings have actually improved that rotation signature more than it was earlier. So if you're in that region as well, you want to, and it looks like they just put a severe thunderstorm warning on that. So those winds are elevated and that storm is also rotating. So go ahead and treat this severe thunderstorm warning as a shelter in place, because these winds have been howling with this line and this thunderstorm is rotating. And sometimes we only get moments.
Especially in this kind of situation. It happens very quickly. They're called quick spin up tornadoes. They spin up very rapidly, which is why a lot of times you see these warnings go on for an extended period of time, because a lot of times they'll even lift up and then they'll touch down again, then they'll lift up, and it's happening very quickly. So this is the kind of environment we're in this afternoon, that right along this line, it's going to be very possible to see these tornadoes spin up very quickly, just as we saw in Gordon County, Floyd County, now possibly south of that area as well. And it's all along this line, which is a very strong cold front. We've had a first alert weather day issued for today for days now, so that you can plan and prepare for this afternoon. So hopefully you've done that. Hopefully you have your first alert weather app handy, so that it will alert you if a warning is issued for your area. And you've been with us throughout the morning and afternoon, because we've been preparing you for this situation that is evolving and happening right now across northwest Georgia. And these storms will continue to push quickly to the east here as we head through the afternoon. So this is going to happen for the next several hours, including Metro Atlanta, as we head through the remainder of the afternoon. So it is important to know, where are you going to go? If you do have a tornado warning issued for your area, make sure you are aware, make sure your family knows where they're going to go if a tornado warning is issued. And as soon as the all clear is given, we will give that to you, so then you can get out of that safe spot and continue on your day. But until this line passes, certainly a very volatile situation, especially for Gordon County, where we are still seeing rotation within this storm. And again, this is now northeast of Adairsville. So it's moved out of the Adairsville area, moving southeast of Calhoun, moving quickly to the northeast at about 65 miles an hour. If this holds together here, we're going to track it for you. Look how long this line is because it's moving so fast, heading towards Blue Ridge. If it holds together, of course, we'll let you know. Blue Ridge at 344, Morganton at 347, possible tornado heading in your direction. And this tornado warning is in place for another 6 minutes until 3:15. We'll have to see if the National Weather Service extends this warning to more areas, which very likely that we're going to see more of these because this line is racing so quickly. In fact, you see it entering Paulding County. This is where we already are getting reports of numerous trees and power lines down ahead of the line in Paulding County from the emergency manager in Paulding County. So I would suspect Paulding County, Cherokee County, moving in through Dawson County, Fannin County. I'm sure the winds are picking up very quickly ahead of this line.
Jen, a couple of things to catch people up on. We have seen the severe thunderstorm warnings expand right now, and the severe thunderstorm warning that is in the far northern part of Georgia, including Fannin, Gilmer, Gordon, Murray counties, that is for considerable winds over 70 miles per hour possible. That's the northern edge of this line. There is now also a severe thunderstorm warning until 3:45 that includes areas closer to the metro, Bartow, Floyd, Haralson, Paulding, and Polk counties. So that is just south of the tornado warning. So north and south of the tornado warning, there are new severe thunderstorm warnings. And this is a line that has a history of producing lots of wind damage, northern Alabama as well as northwest Georgia. So it is extremely likely, given the conditions out ahead of this line, that we are going to see these warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings and possibly tornado warnings if there is rotation, expanded to the east, which is going to include the metro. The weather is going downhill really quickly late this afternoon, Jen.
Yeah, and it's, I think, going to surprise a lot of people who haven't been following our forecast this week because although cloudy, it was relatively nice this morning and even through the early afternoon. And now those winds are starting to pick up. The clouds are looking more and more ominous, and you're starting to feel the changes in the atmosphere. And it's because of this strong line that is heading in your direction. We still have an active tornado warning. Again, this is for Gordon County until 3:15. If you are in Gordon County, you want to get to your safe spot. We are seeing a radar detected rotation and a possible tornado on the ground, and this is detected by radar. And again, we're still seeing that signature of rotation when you see those reds and those greens basically hugging each other very closely, like what we're seeing here, very close to, this is Night Bottom Road southeast, near Cache Road southeast, near Lewis Corner, near Cache. This is where we have a possible tornado on the ground as it moves very quickly towards Redbud Road, towards Kalima, towards 411, towards Ranger, possible tornado on the ground in your area. Patrick, I know you're watching this as well, and you're watching for other areas of rotation because it is a very big line of storms across northwest Georgia.
Yeah, you know, I'm watching these lines of storms that are pushing in, and I've been kind of paying attention to the one that's just south of Rome because that one's the most intriguing to me other than the one that is warned right now. And I can swap that into our base velocity mode, storm relative velocity mode as well. And we're picking up a little bit of a rotational signature here, but it's been lingering. So our whole goal here whenever we're tracking these storms is to watch them, watch that rotation. Whenever we see the rotation, we alert our newsroom. Everybody is on guard. We put that information out to you on our First Alert weather app that we're tracking storms that are rotating and that potential for tornado development is there. And then we wait to see if it tightens. Now, it doesn't always tighten. We're using technology here. So radar is shooting out a beam, and we're looking at the upper levels of the atmosphere. And what we can detect is that broad rotation. And that's how tornadoes start. I had this conversation in the barbershop earlier today. When it stretches down and touches the ground, that's whenever we get a tornado or warning. But otherwise, that rotating thunderstorm, that's our guide to be on alert, Jen.
Yeah, and we are getting information that a brand new tornado warning will be coming just south of that previous tornado warning.
Right in here.
And they're seeing circulation in Bartow moving into northwestern Cherokee County. So Cherokee County County, Bartow County, a new tornado warning coming for your area here in just minutes. The National Weather Service typing away, getting this warning for you, but we want to give it to you as soon as possible before the warning is even issued. If you are in Cherokee County, parts of Bartow County, for circulation that we're seeing just south, and this is what Patrick was watching, another area of circulation south of the previous area of circulation here, possibly going to clip portions of Cherokee County as this storm system continues to race quickly to the northeast at about 60 to 65 miles an hour. And again, because this is a long line of storms, very possible to see little bits of rotation along the entire line. So you could very easily, very possibly have multiple tornadoes at the same time along different parts of that main line of rain and storms.
There it is.
There's the new warning, tornado warning, and until, let's see what time it's until.
I'll let you know right
Here,
now.
Cherokee County.
Yep.
We'll click on this.
Until 3:45.
3:45. So brand new. This
Yeah.
is Pickens County, Cherokee
Gordon,
County, Gordon
Gilmer, Dawson, Cherokee, Bartow.
Okay, say it
Gordon,
one more time.
Gilmer, Dawson, Cherokee, Bartow counties.
Until 3:45.
Until 3:45.
And if you're wondering why is this warning include 5 or 6 counties, it's because this is moving so fast. You've got to get all those counties in there because as soon as it moves into one county, it's moving out of the other county. So we want to give you as much notice as possible. When these are moving 65 miles an hour, that's as if you're driving on the interstate at 65 miles an hour. So this is a relatively large warning here for a tornado warning. Normally those tornado warnings pretty compact just because we can see exactly where that center of circulation is located. So it's easier to just involve as few people as possible. And that's the goal of these warnings. We only want you to go in your safe spot if you are in the warned area. But if you are in that warned area, it is so important that you get into your safe spot immediately. Lowest level of your home, into your basement, a room away from any windows, an interior room like a closet. That is where you want to go if you are in this tornado warning. It is heading towards Jasper, the Jasper area, about to cross over 411 here. Again, possible rotation moving very quickly to the northeast near the Fairmount area. So this tornado very close to the Fairmount area. If you have friends, relatives who live in that Fairmount area, friends in Pickens County, Cherokee County, make sure you give them a call, text them, make sure they are weather aware. Again, most of the day today, the weather's been nice. Things are deteriorating quickly. So now is the time to call your friends and loved ones, start a text chain, check on each other, and make sure they are aware and in their safe spot as this tornado roars towards Jasper at around 3:31. Heading towards Dahlonega at 3:56 for an active tornado warning again until 3:45 this afternoon. A very intense line with not only possible tornadoes, but strong damaging winds. This line has a history of producing 80-mile-an-hour winds. Those are catastrophic winds. Those are as strong, if not stronger, than some tornadoes. So you are talking about broad winds here over a large area of 60, 70, 80 plus miles an hour right now moving through the Fairmount area right over 411. Patrick.
Yeah, Jen, we're getting reports, like these reports are coming in very fast.
Yes.
In Rome, we're getting reports of a tree into a building on campus. This is being reported by a member of the collegiate staff at Shorter College. So getting reports there and also getting reports of sirens blazing in Woodstock.
Yeah, the tornado warnings, I'm sure, surely the tornadoes, if you hear the sirens going off in Woodstock, Cherokee County, certainly because of these tornado warnings in place. And the damage reports, usually they lag behind pretty significantly because it takes time for people to report the damage. They call 911, then they report it to the National Weather Service, and then we can reiterate that damage to you. These damage reports are coming in incredibly fast, which tells us that there is a tremendous amount of damage surrounding these storms. Beyond the tornado aspect, also with those straight line winds of 70, 80 miles an hour, we're seeing reports of trees down and power lines down, also numerous power outages already across northwestern Georgia. And unfortunately, I only expect those numbers to increase exponentially as these storms get closer and closer to Metro Atlanta, more populated area. We're going to see more of those numbers. In fact, here's a look at power outages in the Somerville area, already reporting power outages. You can see there's there's a direct relationship to where the storms have already passed through and where they are right now and who is reporting those power outages. So ahead of that line in Fulton County, in DeKalb County, we're not necessarily seeing those power outages quite yet, but we're going to see those power outages increase exponentially as they move closer and closer into the metro area, even west through Alabama, numerous power outages. And now it's Georgia's turn as this gets closer and closer to our area. Fred, so many storm reports right now, and certainly a long afternoon ahead.
Yeah, definitely a long afternoon ahead. This has been already pretty active. There's all that wind out ahead of it. You may have seen while Jennifer was talking there that I was querying some of the wind speeds estimated by the radar, up over 75 miles per hour. So this line is moving very fast, but it has a lot of strong wind out ahead of it. So many reports of wind damage ahead of it, and then we watch for the rotation. So we have this rather large tornado warning right now that is in effect for a big chunk of northwest Georgia here, and it's because of the rotation within this cell is in a couple of different spots. It looks like that Fairmount area, though, is where we're seeing the best rotation at this point, and it does not look as impressive as it did. I want to back out the radar just a little bit here just to show you that it's not particularly tight right now, the rotation, but we are seeing definitely strong winds with this storm. And the tornado warning is in effect now for another 25 minutes until 3:45 as this particular cell races off to the northeast at 65 miles an hour. When we go with a wider view, you can see how this line extends down now to nearly Cartersville. So it's coming through Bartow County. It's also coming through Polk County right now. And there's some nasty looking rain and probably some lightning in there as well. But in Dallas and Ackworth and Woodstock and Holly Springs and Canton, if the wind is not cranking right now where you are, it will be very soon, out ahead of any rain that moves into your area.
Yeah, and this is, again, a cold front we've been tracking for days and days and days, and now finally here. And this is why we have a first alert weather day. It's for that heightened risk to your safety. Today, we had a higher risk of severe weather, a higher risk of tornadoes, higher risk of strong damaging winds. And as soon as we know that, we want you to know that. So you have as much warning as possible and as much time as possible so you can plan and prepare, especially when this is happening in the middle of the afternoon on a busy Friday. I know you have a very busy schedule and you have a lot on your plate. Certainly this is not the best way to end the work week. Good news is if you do have Friday night plans, this will be over and done with. So the threat of severe weather will continue through about 6, possibly 7. After about 7 p.m., we will be in the clear. No more severe weather, no more storms. Not only that, a gorgeous weekend. It will be dry, low humidity, lots of sunshine. It's going to feel incredible Saturday and Sunday, but certainly hard to even think about that when we still have these nasty storms roaring through northwest Georgia and certainly active tornado warnings across the area. We'll continue to watch for possible rotation. We're still seeing what we call weak rotation. We're looking again for those reds, those greens when they hug each other, and we're seeing some signs of rotation. Doesn't look super impressive, but certainly even a weak tornado, an EF0 tornado with 60-mile-an-hour winds, certainly enough to cause some damage. So this is a situation you need to take very seriously here as the storm roars very quickly to the northeast at 65 miles an hour, and it is moving very quickly. So that's the good news. If you are in that warning and you are going to your safe spot, which you should, at least you know you're not going to be there all afternoon. It is moving at 65 miles an hour. So you need to get there as quickly as possible, but that's also good because it means once that threat is over, you can get out of your warned area. And this entire line is moving quickly. Not only the individual cells that have rotation, but the actual line in and of itself is moving very quickly, but it is approaching some very highly populated areas. So Cherokee County, and you are included in this tornado warning, but Cherokee County, this includes areas north of Canton. So Canton, you are not included in this warning. It's only for far northern portions of the county. But this is where we do have that tornado warning. But even if you're not in that tornado warned area, still incredibly strong winds are approaching your area. And although dry right now in Canton, you are going to see conditions deteriorate quickly with very strong winds, very heavy downpours moving in your direction. So you need to run, get the mail, let the dog out quickly, do what it is you need to do because these storms are moving fast.
Couple of storm reports for you, Jen. Multiple trees down in Fannin County. So the northern edge of this, where there's the severe thunderstorm thunderstorm warning. There were many reports of trees and power lines down. And also in Rome, Shorter College campus, college staff reporting that there's a tree down on a building there. So this is a line of storms that is producing damage as it moves to the east. This is not one where we're saying damage is possible. This is producing damage. These are considerable severe thunderstorm warnings that are being posted for winds up to 70 miles per hour. A lot of times with the severe thunderstorm warning, we'll have winds at 60 miles per hour, and they may not even verify. In this case, we're finding winds that are strong enough to produce widespread damage. Patrick?
I'm just watching these cells, Fred, and we're always focused on that area where there is an active warning, but I'm watching this thunderstorm that's just to the south of Rome. That area continues to get a couple of cells that pop up and get a bit aggressive. So we'll zoom in real quick and dive into that thunderstorm. This is moving just to the south of Cedartown, in between Cedartown and Buchanan right now. I'm going to pause this for you, and I'm going to switch our view just so that I can take a look at the rotational features of this cell. And what we're seeing is not really showing a whole lot of rotation. I can also dive in and see if there's some hail. There's some small hail in here. So I think our primary concern with this cell is the winds. And as we've been saying all day, these thunderstorms have been producing strong winds out ahead of the cells themselves. And you got to remember, these are moving very fast as well. So they're packing the punch of the winds that are blowing ahead of them, but also the forward speed of the storms as well. And we've been seeing lots of rain, lots of thunderstorms, lots of lightning inside of these cells. Of course, we're right now cutting into programming. Normally we'd be in our 3 o'clock show because of this tornado warning cell that continues to be warned for probably roughly another 15, 20 minutes or so. So we'll dive back into it.
And now it is only Dawson, Gilmer County, Dawson, Gilmer, and Pickens. So Dawson, Gilmer, Pickens, you are in the tornado warning. Dawson, Gilmer, and Pickens. The other counties have been removed. So Bartow, you are no longer in the warning. Gordon, you are no longer in the warning. And Cherokee, you are no longer in the warning. So again, as important as it is to get those folks in the warned area, we also want to let you know when you are in the clear. And you'll notice this warning is getting smaller and smaller. And with it showing weaker signs of rotation, certainly that is a positive as well. Although still seeing some signs of at least weak rotation, especially just east of Hinton, near Highway 53 West, Harris Road, Tilley Road, near Blaine, Talking Rock. If there is a tornado on the ground, this is going to be the path of that tornado as it speeds very quickly to the northeast at 65 miles an hour. Again, active tornado warning, and really much of North Georgia, including the metro area, under a tornado watch until 8 p.m. So we are under the gun for possible tornadoes through the rest of the afternoon until about 8 o'clock. That's how long we have that tornado watch in place. And it's all associated with the line of showers and storms that's moving through the area. Let's zoom on out, Fred, to kind of that big line of rain, because this is going to be a big impact for the afternoon rush hour commute.
Without a doubt. What I was showing there was the distance for that cell. I just want to show it real quick here, because these are moving at 60 miles an hour. So they're basically moving about a mile a minute. That's how fast this line is moving, and I was measuring out the distance. So this particular one into Jasper in literally the next couple of minutes. So when Jennifer calls out your city name here and we're zoomed in on this radar, that means you need to be in your safe space if we're talking about areas that are in the tornado warning. Now we'll go with a little bit of a wider view here to show you what's going on, because the weather is getting nasty right now in northwestern Bartow County, as well as in the central part of Polk County. Rockmart right now about to get hit pretty hard. And this is the area that Patrick has been keeping an eye on for any possible rotation. Right now, we're not seeing much in that area. It is a severe thunderstorm warning for winds up to 60 miles per hour with that cell. We've seen wind damage farther to the north and to the northwest, and reports of wind damage in Paulding County about 15, 20 minutes ago, well ahead of this system. So this is a major wind producing system that is moving through North Georgia. So if you live south of I-20, you may be saying, well, what about us? What's going on for us? It'll be a little bit later on that this will get south of I-20. The risk is greater, though, as you go north of I-20. So it's the northern suburbs that are more of the focus for where our severe weather may be. In the next couple of hours, Jen, I think that this line will get into Cobb County in about 45 minutes or so, half hour, 45 minutes, and then inside the perimeter, probably by about 5 o'clock.
And let's look at Pickens County. Let's zoom on into Pickens because it looks like the rotation is intensifying a little bit in Pickens County. So we want to see if that's the case, and if so, where it's going here. So just west of Jasper, possibly right here along Talking Rock. And let's track this, Fred, right along where we're seeing this rotation here.
Okay.
Moving just west of Jasper.
Because they're moving so fast.
They are moving so fast, correct.
We need to back it out in order to be able to track these because they're moving
so fast. They go off the screen. There we go.
Yeah.
So this one right here, again, possible rotation towards Blairsville at 4:09, Cleveland at 4:12, Helen at 4:15, and Young Harris around 4:17. Keep in mind, these are moving to the northeast. So we have an entire line that's moving east, and it's going to sweep over our area. But these individual storms are actually moving to the northeast at about 60 to 65 miles an hour. These things are moving incredibly fast here across the metro area. So things going to deteriorate very fast. If you are in the path of this storm, you're noticing the winds are really starting to pick up. The skies are looking ominous, and this is what's heading in your direction. Again, possible rotation right here near Jasper. Doesn't look incredibly overwhelming, but certainly at least a weak tornado, very possibly on the ground here near the Jasper area as it's moving quickly just north of Jasper, crossing over 5, now crossed over 5 here, and again moving very fast near Talking Rock. So if you are near Talking Rock or you have family, friends near Talking Rock, make sure you are calling them, texting them, letting them know that a possible tornado is on the ground heading in their direction. And it is moving to the northeast very quickly. Again, an active tornado warning in effect. This is for Dawson, Gilmer, and Pickens County. This is until 3:45. So if you are in Dawson, Gilmer, Pickens County, you are under a tornado warning for the next 15 minutes for a possible tornado on the ground. This is a radar detected tornado, but even beyond that, these storms have a history of producing severe thunderstorms with winds in excess of 80 miles an hour. So right now we've got the rotation detector on. This is a neat little tool that we can put on, helps us detect rotation, and certainly it's very pretty much exactly where we're showing those rotation when we're showing you the velocity there. So west of Jasper, again near Fairmont, now moving quickly to the northeast through Pickens County. Possible tornado on the ground crossing over Highway 5 near Whitestone Road, near Westbrook, near Rudin, near Jasper, near Burnt Mountain Estates. I'm naming all of these individual roads because it's so important that if you are in the path of this storm, that you are in your safe spot. So if I am naming a road that you live very close to, please get to your safe spot. Make sure your family, your friends, your neighbors are in their safe spot until this tornado warning ends and the storm passes over the area. It is moving very quickly, so you will not have to be there for long, but certainly something you need to take very seriously here. North of Jasper, possible tornado on the ground. Again, north of Jasper, right along Highway 5 here, moving very quickly to the northeast, about 60 to 65 miles an hour, going to move quickly through Dawson County, where we are under an active tornado warning, including Gilmer County and Pickens County until 3:45 this afternoon. And I know you're tracking not only the tornadic portion of the storm, Patrick, but the storm in general because it's very large and we've got strong winds along that entire line.
There is a line of thunderstorms that are being very aggressive just to the south of where we're tracking the tornado warning. And what I'll do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit, but I'm going to give you a heads up on where that is headed as well, because some gusty winds are kicking with this cell as it is moving off towards the north and east. So we'll track out this line of storms, and I do think that some of the same communities that have already gotten rain will get rain again as it is moving generally in the northeasterly direction. So if you're in places like Rockmart, Aragon, we have this cell moving into your neighborhood within the next 10 minutes. This is going to arrive in Cartersville just before the 4 o'clock hour. And keep in mind, like, listen, the kids are getting out of school, folks are about to get off work and try to make it in for that early arrival, that early evening commute for Friday. Emerson, this is going to arrive at 4, slightly after 4 in White and Woodstock. And I know that folks in Woodstock have been hearing sirens. It looks like you aren't actually included in that tornado warning. You were just close by enough to hear the sirens because you were just because of your proximity. But some strong winds and some heavy rain going to be moving into your neighborhood roughly within the next 20, 25 minutes or so. So this has been a very long day with these storms. They've been firing up across portions of Alabama. We've had confirmed tornadoes out there, and unfortunately, we're getting our shot at it. Fred, you have any new reports for us?
Just that there's reports coming out of Adairsville of some wind damage there. Several reports coming in, lots out of Whitfield County as well. So there's not really a spot in northwest Georgia that this line has touched that hasn't seen some damage so far, and it will likely continue off to the east. If you're in the metro area, fairly quiet for now, probably starting to notice that wind pick up at this point out ahead of the line, but there is the potential for strong damaging winds, particularly in the northern suburbs as this line moves in. One thing I do want to note, Patrick and Jennifer, is that the line itself is slowing a little bit, especially the southern extent of it. So the northern edge is racing right along, but the southern edge of it is not moving quite as quickly as it was earlier. So we'll be dealing with this right through the evening commute.
Yeah, the timing is terrible. And speaking of the commute, I know we have Cutter Martin, meteorologist Cutter Martin. He's in our First Alert road tracker. I want to know if he is still available. He's actually heading towards perfect. He's heading towards the Canton area. So first I want to show on the map where he is so people can understand what they're seeing. Let's zoom in close to Canton. He was on 575 heading northbound. So he is in this area. So it is not raining quite yet if he is in the Canton area, but I'm sure the winds are picking up very quickly where he is, because again, we're getting damage reports before the rain even arrives because those winds really intensifying quickly ahead of that line. So meteorologist Cutter Martin, you are in the First Alert road tracker. Tell us what it looks like where you are, and you are still in Cherokee County, correct?
Yeah, just south of Canton, that storm raced north and east. We were on it, and we saw the top of that supercell thunderstorm producing a possible tornado to our north. Outside right now, we're coming in basically to the south side of Canton now. We just left 575. No trees down, but you can probably see some of those leaves blowing around on the side. Winds actually picking up as we saw peaks of sunshine. So the visual of the weather actually got better, and then winds started to howl. It was a crosswind across 75 and 575. Photographer that's with me, haven't had both hands on the wheel. Definitely one of those days, and that is well ahead of any rain, any thunder, and any lightning. So certainly an impactful commute, especially for the north siders this afternoon.
Okay.
A day in which you need to have alerts turned on. We actually got some of these alerts from the Atlanta News First Alert app right there as we were on the road, and a day where you can plug in your device, you can choose audible alerts and not even have to have your hand connected to your phone, hands-free, and still first alerts changing weather conditions. And unfortunately, Jen, what we're seeing out here on the north side, conditions go from partly sunny and breezy and windy to possibly driving into a tornadic storm in a very short span of time here. So something we're watching pretty closely on the north side, tracking up into these storms as they approach from the west. Also hearing of those reports, as you all have as well, of trees down in Floyd County and some other areas, maybe checking out that damage. But right now here, southern Cherokee County, very dark sky to my north and west. We'll show you that once again as I pan up on the roof cam, but no actual rain yet. Just howling winds, dark skies, signals that severe weather is about to move into the north side of Metro Atlanta.
Yeah, Cutter, and we will check back with you in 5 to 10 minutes, because I really want to see how quickly things deteriorate. We are getting messages. We have a weather chat with emergency managers, with the police departments, with fire rescue, with all those emergency managers involved in making decisions and keeping you safe. And we're getting reports that some counties are being overloaded with 911 calls right now from reports of trees coming down and damage and power outages. So this is quickly escalating to become a very dangerous situation. So there where you are in Cherokee County, I know things are looking good right now, but things are going to deteriorate quickly. If you are in the metro area, if you're in Cobb County, Cherokee County, Forsyth County, Fulton County, through DeKalb County, Clayton County, and then you start heading south, the worst is yet to come. This is just now moving into northwest Georgia, but things are going to get much, much, much worse before they get better in the metro area. So please stay with us. We're going to be with you all afternoon. 4 meteorologists with you right now, literally want to hold your hand to keep you and your family safe. That is our goal, to give you as much notice, as much warning, give you all the valuable information you need. As much as we know, we want you to know so that you can be safe in a situation like this. So good news with this Possible tornado, although we're still seeing some weak rotation, certainly doesn't look overwhelming right now. And it's something in this kind of setup that isn't surprising, just because I think if we do see tornadoes, most of them will be those quick, weak spin-up tornadoes, not a large, long-range tornado, but certainly very destructive nonetheless here as this continues to move closer and closer here through Dawson County, into Dawson County through 3:45. That's how long we have a tornado warning in place, Fred.
And it's something else to consider too, as that tornado warned cell does get farther up into North Georgia, into the central part of North Georgia and Northeast Georgia. It gets more mountainous there, which does make it a little more difficult for the radar to detect that rotation. Right now, that rotation doesn't look super impressive. The tornado warning is still in effect for Dawson County for about another 7 minutes. We're going to continue to watch that. More reports coming in of damage, including in Woodstock, where there's roof damage reported, as well as a report out of Gordon County in Calhoun for wind gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour. That's not a National Weather Service observation. That's somebody's home weather station. And a lot of times the home weather stations, if you're getting a 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gust, that is actually legit, because many times where those are sighted, it's not completely in the clear. There might be a house nearby or something else that could obstruct the wind. So to get wind gusts that strong at a home weather station, very impressive. Several trees down on Berry College campus, including one near Evans Hall that just came in Rome County. And all of this is continuing to move off to the east here. So the warning, it looks like the severe thunderstorm warning now in effect until 4 o'clock. That includes Union County as well as Lumpkin County, and the northern part of Dawson County is in a severe thunderstorm warning. And because that has been extended, tells me that the National Weather Service may let that tornado warning expire, or actually they did just expire for Dawson, Gilmer, and for Pickens County. So the tornado warning is no longer in effect. But in this situation, we want to emphasize that that does not mean you are in the clear. This is not a situation where if you don't have a tornado warning, you're not going to see rough weather. You are going to get rough weather throughout North Georgia this afternoon, because this line has a history of producing wind damage and wind gusts over 60 miles an hour. Patrick?
Fred, me and Jen were just talking, that cell that was warned, much like it bore from a parent cell.
Yeah.
Jen, the rotation that we're seeing just to the south of that is not warned, but it's
Right.
definitely something for us to keep an eye on, because we could definitely get a warning just to the south of where that tornado warning. This is going to be southwest of Jasper. So just Jasper, the folks there have been just dealing with the tornado warning that has just expired, but we could see another one issued moment just to the east of Fairmont. In between Fairmont and Nelson. We'll be watching this.
We'll be watching.
Yeah.
And this is a very evolving situation, because what will happen is, so what we're doing behind the scenes here, just to give you a little understanding, is we're actually dissecting and studying the radar. So as we take turns talking, as Fred's talking, Patrick and I are here looking at the radar, and we're actually dissecting the radar for you. And we're looking for other areas of rotation. So we're not waiting for the National Weather Service to tell you there's a tornado. We're actually doing it ourselves and looking for rotation. So we're looking for spots of rotation. But what's happening in some of these storms is we're starting to see a little bit of weak rotation, and then it dissipates. And then we'll see a little bit of weak rotation, and then it dissipates. So that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing areas that are showing heightened areas and senses of concern, but then 5 minutes later, the coast is clear and we're no longer seeing rotation. But just as quickly as we're seeing these areas spin up, just as quickly they're dissipating. But definitely something we'll continue to watch closely, because again, our goal is to warn you as quickly as possible and give you as much time to plan and prepare as you need to keep you and your family safe. So again, there's the area we're watching here for possible rotation. Again, very, very weak at this point, but just very similar to what we saw earlier, where it started off this way and then suddenly it did become a radar indicated tornado. So certainly that could be possible, that southwest of Jasper and right along that main line, we could see a second or even a third tornado develop along this entire line, which is a very strong cold front. The parameters are in place. It's a very ripe environment environment primed for these storms to spin up. We see rotation with height in the atmosphere here. So as this front is surging through, certainly a tornado is very possible, and that is why we have a tornado watch. Whenever you're under a tornado watch, it means tornadoes are possible. Once you get that tornado warning, it means that there is a radar indicated tornado or a confirmed tornado on the ground, which is a much more serious situation. And that is the time when we have you go to your safe spot, which is a basement or interior room, lowest level of your home, or to a basement. Fred?
Yeah, Jen, and I've circled that area in white there because what we look for along this line can be just some kinks in the line right there where you get some rotation. And that was what Patrick was watching. That's what we're keeping an eye on. Right now, it looks like fairly weak rotation. But like Jennifer just said, that's how it starts. And then we've seen that develop into something more significant that has prompted these tornado warnings this afternoon. So right now, it is that area southwest of Jasper that we're keeping an eye on for a little bit of rotation. Nothing super impressive at this point. And this line extending farther down to the southwest. And the worst weather is still yet to come. Jennifer said that a few times. Can't emphasize that enough. If we look at Cherokee County here, which is right in the middle of your map, you really haven't had too much at this point in terms of rain, but you've had a ton of wind. And out of the northwestern part of Cherokee County, there are numerous reports out of the Waleska area coming in of damage, transformers blowing from trees down, trees on roofs, on houses, and stuff like that. Patrick?
Add Henry County to the list. Henry County 911 starting to get calls about down trees and down power lines, and that is not even. Listen, we've been talking about these winds out ahead of the storms because we knew that the threat for tornadoes would be isolated in certain locations, but we knew that everybody was going to see strong winds today, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Even well out ahead of the storms, the winds are gusting enough to down trees and power lines.
And flooding the 911 call system. They're getting inundated with calls. And as you said, I mean, Henry County, Henry County, for those, that's where McDonough is located. It is, this is McDonough. This is Henry County. I mean, the storms are all the way up, just now entering Cherokee County. So you're talking a fairly large distance there, and they're already getting reports of trees and power lines down. So unfortunately, again, I expect numerous trees down, numerous power outages as this line rolls through. And tornado is certainly a possibility, but even beyond that threat of tornadoes, very concerned about the wind damage that we're going to see from this, from trees and power lines and subsequent damage as a result of that. So we'll be watching for that very closely. I'm actually curious, Cutter, do we have Cutter again? Cutter is actually traveling through Cherokee County. So I want to check in with it. He's ready. So he's moved through Cherokee County. Hopefully he's a little further north. And again, let's go to Cherokee so we can show Fred kind of where the rain is in relation to where Cutter is located. So Cutter, we're going to go to you in a minute.
He's now in a severe thunderstorm warning, actually.
And you are in a severe thunderstorm warning. Cutter, are you in Canton? Are you south of Canton? Do you know?
No, we have made it into Canton proper. We were just adjacent to Canton City Hall, so we are now in the city of Canton and facing northern Cherokee County as these storms are moving in from the north and the west. And let's take you outside and pan up because you're talking about these winds arriving well ahead of any storms. Camera may not be doing it justice, but we are seeing these trees really starting to blow. We have seen some very small limbs, lots of leaves blowing around. And again, this is winter time. This tree hasn't leafed out yet. So to get movement like that on trees, it may not seem like it's, that windy, but it takes more wind than in the springtime. For example, look at the pines there, center of the screen, off into the distance. Winds are gusting 35, 45 miles an hour, and it's not even raining yet. I haven't even heard any thunder, seen any lightning. So winds will arrive ahead of your worst conditions, and in many cases, ahead of that tornado threat. So what I'm concerned with is people may not have a way to get tornado warnings if they're relying on traditional television because their power could go out well ahead of any actual tornado warned storm approaching their area because winds are howling well ahead of these tornadic parts of the storm. Again, First Alert Weather app, we got one of those alerts here while we were on the road. You can sign up for alerts yourself. That is a way, even if your power goes out, as long as your device is charged, to stay alert and to get those alerts even if your power goes out ahead of the worst of the weather and the circulating part, the tornadic part of that storm. Again, live outside in Canton proper. We're going to pan that roof cam back up here for you. Winds are gusting 35 to 45 really starting to ramp up here even ahead of this main line of storms. Hasn't even started raining significantly yet, but wind's a big problem today. We knew that was going to be an issue. There is so much wind energy above our heads this afternoon. All we need is some heavier rain showers to transport that damaging wind down to the surface. So certainly kind of a scarier situation for some. No one likes to see pine trees bend at the angle that they're bending today, but unfortunately for North Metro, Canton, Cherokee County, Bartow, Cartersville, we're also watching that storm for us up here in Cherokee County down near Rockmart. It could bring more damaging wind gusts, not just 35, 45 gusts, but 70 to 80 gusts into the North Metro here over the next couple of hours.
Yeah, and we've had reports of this line producing 80-mile-an-hour winds, which is just incredible as it traveled through parts of North Georgia, still creating very strong winds. Fred, I know you're watching the radar closely. We have a huge severe thunderstorm warning as well.
A couple of things. New severe thunderstorm warning, Blairsville gusting to 52 miles per hour. Cutter was just talking about that wind energy up above. We also have a very well-mixed atmosphere. The temperature made it into the mid-70s today in Atlanta. So sometimes there can be a stable layer right near the surface that prevents those stronger winds from coming down to the surface. Oftentimes in thunderstorms, it's brought down to the surface by that heavier rain. In this situation, I don't even think we need the thunderstorms to get those strong winds that we're finding. Again, Blairsville gusting to 52 miles an hour. So 50-plus mile-per-hour gusts are very impressive alone, and we have seen gusts even higher than that. Brand new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued, and I'm going to need to run down the counties here, Jen, while we take a look at this one, because there are a lot in that severe thunderstorm warning. Let me see if I can find it here. Bartow, Carroll, Cherokee, Cobb, Haralson, Paulding, and Polk until 4:30 this afternoon. That's the brand new severe thunderstorm warning. Winds up to 60 miles per hour with this line as it moves in from the west, and we're finding those winds well out ahead of it. So if you're in Kennesaw, you're probably starting to feel those winds really, really pick up. If you're east of Canton, you're definitely feeling it. Cutter was there in Canton. You could see the trees blowing around, so the weather is going downhill in a hurry as we get into now the northwestern part of the metro.
Very good, Fred. And I know, Patrick, you're here too as well, and you're dissecting the radar with this incredible line moving through the metro, closer to the metro.
Yeah, and we were having this conversation about 5-7 minutes ago about that cell in Jasper, how we're dissecting these thunderstorms to see what's happening so that we can jump the gun. Hey, listen, we see this rotation. It's not warranted, may be warned. Well, one of our spotters, we did a story a couple days ago about one of the 92-year-old spotter in Maine. We have a network of spotters around the country, and one of our spotters here in Jasper reported a funnel cloud that was stretching down for 90 seconds and then went back up. So those 90 seconds must have been those 90 seconds that we observed the tightening that was there for a couple of minutes before it went back up. And just as easily as the funnel cloud went back up, it could have continued to stretch down. And that's why we gave you the heads up about 5 to 7 minutes ago. Hey, look, we can't see what's happening in Jasper from like the ground horizontally, but we can look in the atmosphere and we can use all of our tools. We can dissect radar, go through that information real time, and within 90 seconds spot rotation that is actually stretching down. So thankfully that is not touching the ground, so no tornado there, but some strong winds, heavy rain, and some ominous skies across parts of that area.
And a very dangerous situation, which is why we do have a team of 4 meteorologists with you right now as these storms approach the metro area. We've got much more on this, so stay with us throughout the afternoon. But first, since there are no active tornado warnings, if that changes, we will interrupt immediately. But for now, we're going to toss it back to Alan Devlin.
Yeah, Jennifer Valdez, thanks for joining us. As she said, I am Alan Devlin. It has been a busy afternoon in weather here in North Georgia, in West Georgia. You heard our team, 4 meteorologists, Jennifer Valdez, Cutter Martin, Patrick Pete, and Fred Campagna, have been walking you through this system as it continues to move right here to Metro Atlanta. And it's going to be something we're going to keep our eyes on through the rest of the afternoon, because this is not over. I do want to tell you, our app, scan that QR code right there on your screen to download the First Alert weather app here from Atlanta News First, where you can get those notifications about current weather conditions in your neighborhood, whether you have power or not. With a storm this strong, a system, a line, and you saw it coming this strong, this is when you're going to need it most. And don't forget, share this app with your friends and family who may be in the path of this storm. We're going to continue to keep you updated throughout the rest of the evening here. We'll be with you, and we'll be right back.